ever try trusting someone you don't really trust? A strange concept. You don't trust them, so why would you trust them? We don't trust them very often because of our own inability to let go and trust. Not because they are not trustworthy, but because we do not know how to let go and trust another person. And very often what the people around us need most from us is that encouragement and that support, that vote of confidence that we trust them. That is what they are seeking from us often more than anything else. That we should believe in them. And so sometimes we don't feel that we can trust them, but we still can train ourselves to trust. And the way we train ourselves to trust is not because we do trust, but because we act trusting. And the more times we trust someone and they live up to it, which very often happens because when we show a person a vote of confidence, what they want more than anything else is to live up to that. The more we do that, and the more we see that I can trust and people are trustworthy, the more we begin to trust. And that's how we expand our ability to trust others. Very often, we always want to show them how, we ask someone to do something, but then we want to show them how to do it. You know, have you ever had a situation where someone asks you to do something, in the middle of doing it, they grab the thing out of your hands, literally, to say, no, this is how you do it. And it's such a violation. The violation really is that they are not trusting us. And that is very, very hurtful, because we all want to be trusted and we all want to be shown trust. And that emboldens and empowers every single one of us. Have you ever asked someone to do something and then you showed them how to do it and they resisted? They said, stop telling me how to do it. I'll do it how I want to do it. Do you know what they're really saying when they say that? What they're really saying is, I need you to trust me. That's what they're really saying. They're actually begging you to trust them, because every one of us needs people who tell us, I trust you. And this is such a powerful gift we give to the other person. But even more so, it's a powerful gift that we give to ourselves, because we begin to train ourselves to let go of insisting that the world need to function and be the way I believe it has to function and be. And when we do that, we actually expand our lives, because we suddenly begin to realize that not only is my way not the only way, I begin to discover that sometimes my way is the wrong way, or that there are far better ways. The only way to discover that is when we trust other people to do it the way they want to do it, or the way they know to do it. Now, we're dealing with other people. So we're not going to trust someone where the stakes are enormously high. We're not going to trust our child in doing something where they can, God forbid, hurt themselves terribly. Because after all, we don't know for sure how they will produce. But anything beyond high stakes, the more we trust, the more empowering we will be for the other, and the more expansive we will make our own lives. When it comes to God, that's a whole different story. Because God, we can trust absolutely. And God just waits for us to show that we are ready to trust Him, that we are ready to let go. Does God need us to trust Him? No. He wants us to muster from within ourselves the ability to liberate ourselves from the limitations of what we know to be possible, and to bring in, to accept what can be divinely possible, which is really anything that God says will be. And this is demonstrated in one of the most well-known stories of the Torah. And that is when God comes to Abraham and tells Abraham, I want you to bring up your only son Isaac as a sacrifice. And what does Abraham do? He takes his son Isaac and starts bringing him to the place where he's going to be brought as a sacrifice. And this is quite shocking, because we know that when God tells Abraham, I'm going to destroy the city of Sodom and Gomorrah, Abraham negotiates with God and tries to save the cities. He protests. When Sarah, his wife, tells him, I want you to send away your son Ishmael because he's having a bad influence on our son Isaac, what does Abraham do? He turns to God and says, God, Sarah's telling me to send him away. How can I send him away? And only after God insists does he send away Ishmael. And here God says, sacrifice your son Isaac. And Abraham doesn't say a word. He just gets up and follows instructions. Why is this instance different than the previous instances? Here's the reason why it's different. Because previously, God promised Abraham, Ki b'Yitzchak, through your son Isaac, Yikari lecha zara, will your offspring continue to expand. That your family is going to grow through Isaac. Abraham knows one thing. God promised that Isaac will continue my family. If God promised that, I will trust that, even in the face of an obvious contradiction. And you know why God gave Abraham this opportunity? Because God wanted Abraham to actualize this level of trust. And Abraham passed this test. He did. How enormous. And he ingrained this level of trust in his DNA, which is passed on to every single one of us. This enormous ability to trust. The fear is enormous, but the possibility is even greater. Think about one thing that you know would be right for you to do. And God tells you and tells me that we should be doing this. But we can't let go. How am I going to afford this? How am I going to have time for this? How can I do this if it's going to impact me in this way? So you know what we do? We need to simply say, I'm going to trust. And every time we trust, and the more challenging the situation is that we put our trust in, the more our trust grows, and we develop this enormous power and expansiveness of not being limited to what we know, but beginning to experience what only God knows.